Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something really heavy. A single source. But wow, it's powerful. It's a father's own story titled A Father's Impossible Choice.
Yeah, this one stays with you.
It really does. And our goal here isn't just, facts and figures. We're diving into this incredibly personal narrative, the emotions, the ethics, this massive sacrifice. It makes you question everything about being a parent.
Exactly. It's not black and white, no heroes or villains, really. It's just messy, human. It's about these impossible situations people find themselves in. We'll be looking at why he made the choices he did, the impact, and, well, what happens when a parent steps away thinking it's for the best.
It's definitely about those gray areas. Love, responsibility, loss. Okay, so let's get into it. The author, he's 28 now, looking back to when he was 19, university student. His girlfriend, 20 at the time, gets pregnant. And right away it gets complicated.
Understatement of the year.
Right. So they talk. He thinks adoption is the way to go. They're young, no money, no real resources. And she says she agrees initially. But then, like, the very next day, she drops out of uni, gets a full-time job just so she can qualify for maternity leave.
Whoa, that's fast.
Super fast. And then she drops the first bombshell. She admits she only pretended to agree to adoption so they'd, quote, stop fighting, even though he says it was actually a calm talk.
Okay, so manipulation from the start.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She apparently told him she knew I'd change my mind once the baby arrived. But wait, it gets worse.
Oh, boy.
He finds out she'd been hiding her birth control.
Yeah.
Deliberately stopped taking it over a month earlier, hoping to get pregnant to save our relationship.
Wow, that's not just a small lie. That's a fundamental betrayal.
Exactly. He tells her he can never trust her again. They break up. He commits to the child, absolutely, but the relationship, done. He stays in uni, works towards a better future. She moves in with her parents, works until the baby comes.
That initial deception, that breach of trust, it just hangs over everything that follows, doesn't it? It's not just about them anymore. It's about this child they're bringing into a situation founded on, well, a lie. How do you even begin to co-parent after that?
You probably don't. Not easily. And the breakup didn't simplify things. It just made them, in his words, messy. The mother's expectations started shifting.
How so?
Well, her plan A, getting support from her church, that fell through because they weren't married. Her parents stepped up, sure, but they weren't about to bankroll her being a stay-at-home mom.
So the pressure was on.
Big time, which is maybe why she tries to get back together with him. Tries to sweeten the pot, he says, talking about having more kids, this whole storybook life full of unicorns and bubblegum.
After the birth control deception. Seriously.
His reaction was basically fury. He refused. So what does she do? Shuts him out completely. No updates on the pregnancy. Nothing.
Trying to control the situation again.
Totally. But then she gets, quote, blindsided because he is getting updates from people she knew, her own circle, who thought what she was doing was wrong and were secretly feeding him info.
Ooh, that must have stung.
Yeah. He holds his ground. We only talk about the baby. She refuses any help from him or his family, afraid they'll somehow force their way into her life.
Just digging her heels in.
And then the birth itself. He says, maybe pettily, maybe not. She chose to have the baby on his parents' wedding anniversary. As ridiculous as it sounds, he writes.
Wow. That feels pointed.
Doesn't it? So he goes to the hospital. He actually admits he wanted to hate the baby, just to make it easier to create distance.
Understandable, maybe, given everything.
But the second he holds his son, he says he was hopeless. Held him for over an hour. Everything just felt right. That connection was instant.
That's powerful. Despite everything she'd done, that paternal bond just clicked.
Absolutely. He sets up financial support. She agrees. But literally, as soon as she's out of the hospital, cuts contact. Back to proud, independent mother. Wants him to leave her alone. And he does. He respects her wishes.
It's such a pattern, isn't it? Her pushing for control, pushing him away, and him, despite the hurt, connecting deeply with his son. That moment he holds him, that anchors everything that comes later, I think. It makes the ultimate sacrifice even more, well, gut-wrenching.
Yeah, absolutely. So fast forward about 6 months, no contact. Then bam, court summons.
Ah, the inevitable next step.
Right. And the judge initially, not friendly towards him at all, assumes he's been neglectful, uninvolved.
Which is what the mother likely portrayed.
Exactly. But then he presents his evidence. Proof she told him to stay away. Proof he'd been setting aside money consistently. And the judge's attitude completely shifts.
Evidence talks?
It does. He ends up agreeing to pay nearly double the requested child support. And despite being a full-time student, working full-time, he never misses a single visit. Not one.
That's commitment. Serious commitment.
He even keeps this visitation journal, and it shows his son thriving, with him running, starting to talk. But with the mom. The journal notes say he was often nearly catatonic. He has videos too, cherished videos, showing the progress.
That contrast is stark.
Yeah.
And potentially a very damaging evidence against her in court.
It must have been, because she gets desperate. Her own lawyer asks her point blank in proceedings, "What's your biggest fear about him getting more access or custody?"
And her answer?
Brutally honest, actually. She says, "I'm scared he'll continue to do well, get primary or sole custody, and do to me what I did to him and keep my son away.
Wow.
Except he doesn't need help from me, so he'd have no reason to keep me involved, and I'll never see my son again."
So it's all about her fear of losing control, of being cut out, just like she tried to do to him. It's almost transactional in her mind.
Seems like it. His response in court was simply, "My son deserves to have both parents in his life." He acknowledges it sounds almost too good to be true, that he was the one doing better financially, developmentally, but insists that was the frustrating reality she wouldn't accept.
That courtroom moment, her admission, it really throws the ethical dilemma into sharp relief. You have her fear, maybe manipulative, maybe genuine insecurity, but clearly self-focused. And you have his stated focus on the child's right to both parents. It really pushes that question.
Mm-hmm.
When does one parent's insecurity become so harmful that it jeopardizes the child's well-being?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it leads directly to the climax, the impossible choice.
Yeah.
Because the mother's next move is just extreme.
What does she do?
She goes, as he puts it, nuclear. She proposes that he completely sign away all parental rights.
Yeah.
No contact, no visits, nothing. But also, no more child support. A clean break. In exchange, she'll leave him alone forever.
Just erase him as the father.
Completely. His first reaction is just pure anger. He calls her heartless.
I mean, yeah, who wouldn't?
But then, something shifts for him. He realizes it's not about winning in court anymore. It triggers something deep.
His own past.
Exactly. He talks of his own awful childhood, being caught in the crossfire of his warring parents, the constant fighting, the stress. He couldn't bear putting his son through that.
That's a heavy burden to carry into this decision.
And his own lawyer warns him, bluntly, "That girl will be so much worse than your bio dad." That sealed it for him.
A chilling warning.
He says he realized he loved his son so much, he had to let him go. To protect him, he agrees. Signs the papers. No support, no future claims on either side. All to give his son a shot at a peaceful and happy childhood, sparing him the kind of upbringing he had.
That is an incredible sacrifice. Choosing his son's potential peace over his own presence in his life.
And get this, he had leverage he didn't use. The birth control deception. In his country, he says, that could potentially be prosecuted as a crime related to consent.
An ace in the hole, as he calls it.
Right. But he refused to play it. Why? Because he didn't want his son growing up known as the product of that kind of act.
Protecting his son even from the truth of his conception.
Yeah. His last visit. God, it's heartbreaking. His son was just over 1. Called him Daddy for the first and only time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the mom canceled a final goodbye visit, claimed the son was sick. He didn't fight it, just didn't want any more conflict, more court.
He just walked away.
He walked away.
That decision, driven by his own trauma and this fierce protective love, it's profound. You see the cycle of intergenerational trauma playing out, but he's consciously trying to break it, even at immense personal cost. It makes you question, is that the ultimate act of parental love? Or is there a point where protecting a child from conflict means sacrificing something essential like their connection to a parent? It's such a difficult balance.
And the story doesn't end there, of course. The pain doesn't just vanish. Years later, he says it's actually gotten worse, even though he's learned to live with it.
The grief of that loss must be immense.
He admits he nearly became an alcoholic, trying to numb the pain after those early visits ended. He looks back on everything he did, the long work hours plus school, the 6-hour visits, making a little watermelon cake for his son's first birthday, trying so hard.
All those memories now tinged with that finality.
Yeah. His son is 8 now, has a stepdad, 2 younger half-sisters.
Yeah.
He's been told his real dad died when he was a baby. And the OP, the father, he accepts that the stepdad is his son's dad now, just as much, if not significantly more than I am.
That's a painful acceptance.
But here's the twist. The future bomb, as he calls it. Remember that agreement they signed?
The clean break.
Well, his lawyer slipped something in. A sneaky clause, he admits. It mandates that a legal representative must deliver a letter from him to his son when he turns 12 or 13. For his eyes only. no interference allowed. Apparently, the mother's lawyer didn't catch it or didn't read the fine print carefully enough.
Oh my God, a time bomb indeed. What's in the letter?
His side of the story. Why he left. Not because he didn't love him, didn't want him, but because he wanted to spare him the conflict, the bitterness between his parents. He expresses his love, hopes for forgiveness someday.
That is going to shatter that boy's world.
He knows. He says it will shatter him. Reveal his mom lied, kept him from his father, his whole other family, purely out of spite and paranoia.
The fallout.
He's incredibly torn. He doesn't want to hurt his son. He worries his son will end up angry at both parents, feeling like he can't trust anyone. But there's a part of him, he admits, that feels a weird form of satisfaction, that the lie will finally crumble around her. Not for his sake, but, complicated.
That honesty is brutal. That mix of wanting his son's well-being, but also having this very human, maybe vengeful satisfaction.
And he can't stop it now. It's a court-ordered agreement. They can't even guarantee it won't land on the kid's birthday.
Timing couldn't be worse, potentially, right at the start of adolescence.
He dreads facing an angry teenager, but also hopes, maybe, they can eventually build some kind of relationship. He actually says he forgives his ex, blames it on immaturity, they were barely 20, and hopes his son can forgive her too. He doesn't see people as good or bad, just people.
That's a remarkably generous perspective, given everything.
Isn't it? Ultimately, he just wants to see the man his son grows into, even if it has to be from a distance.
That letter.
Hey.
It throws another huge ethical wrench into things. The right to truth versus the potential harm. Delivering that kind of life-altering news to a 12 or 13-year-old, developmentally, that's a minefield. It impacts their identity, their trust, everything. And his own internal conflict, wanting peace, but also wanting the truth out. It's just layers upon layers of complexity. What kind of relationship can even come from that revelation?
It's hard to imagine. And there are a few more details from his updates that add, well, even more context. Some are quite revealing.
Oh.
Well, first, that agreement. Turns out it wasn't actually judge approved. The lawyers did it between themselves because they knew a judge wouldn't sign off on completely severing ties like that. He actually says now he thinks waiting until the son was an adult would have been better, but yeah, the letter's locked in.
So, a legal loophole, essentially.
Seems like it. He also really emphasizes how much his own childhood trauma drove the decision. His lawyer knew all about the fighting parents, the financial stress. He was adamant, I will never allow a child to endure that kind of psychological and emotional abuse warfare.
That determination to break the cycle is paramount.
Absolutely. He's also clear about the mom's intent. She wanted me to be a deadbeat dad, just pay support and vanish. When she couldn't win in court, she took her frustrations out on him, the son.
Using the child as a pawn, sadly not uncommon in high conflict cases.
And his family. They were deeply involved during the visits, heartbroken when it ended. The mom actually had them written into the agreement too, preventing them from contacting the son, fearing they'd swoop in and turn him against her.
Controlling every possible angle.
And then, there are these two court stories he tells, almost with a hint of dark humor.
Let's hear them.
One time, her lawyer tried to argue his competency was questionable because of a head injury he had as a teenager.
Seriously, grasping at straws.
The judge apparently shut that down hard. Said something like, the brain-damaged father is in university working full-time, meeting his parental obligations. Your client can't seem to manage the first two, so what does that say about her?
Ouch. Burned from the bench.
Right, but then he admits to his own bit of maneuvering. He calls it childish. She demanded a specific supervisor for visits. He agreed, but scheduled the visits for 4:30 p.m. on weekdays at a park 45 minutes away from her, knowing the supervisor was a teacher and couldn't possibly make it on time.
Petty but effective, I guess.
It worked. Led to unsupervised visits pretty quickly. It just shows the kind of gamesmanship that was happening, even from him.
Yeah, those details really highlight the warfare aspect he mentioned. The judge's comment, his own tactical move, it shows the intense frustration and the constant battle footing they were both on. It reinforces that his final decision, while a sacrifice, was also maybe the only way he saw to decisively end that war, even if it involved deploying one last delayed action weapon with that letter.
A really complicated picture of trying to escape a toxic dynamic, maybe getting pulled into it sometimes, and making an almost unthinkable choice.
It really makes you think about the long shadow of trauma, how it shapes our choices, and what breaking the cycle truly costs.
This whole account, it's just been incredibly intense to unpack. It forces you way beyond easy answers into this really raw space of love, pain, and sacrifice.
Absolutely. His choice, rooted in his own history and this desperate need to protect his son from repeating it, It leaves us with so much to grapple with. It's a stark reminder that sometimes love means letting go, and the road to peace, or perceived peace, can be incredibly painful.
So the question we want to leave you with as you think about this story is this. When you're faced with something truly impossible, a choice that will break your own heart but might shield your child from ongoing conflict, what is the best path? Is there one? And how much should our own past dictate the futures of the people we love the most? Is ultimate sacrifice the ultimate love? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it offered some perspective on the immense complexities of being a parent and the sacrifices that sometimes involves.